Here are the real stages of self-improvement. No sugarcoating. Stage 1 is what I'd call the doomer phase. This is where you haven't really started. Your life revolves around short-term pleasure. Scrolling, gaming, junk food, whatever keeps you distracted. And the worst part isn't even what you're doing, it's how you feel about it. Most people in this stage don't actually enjoy it. They just numb themselves, hoping one day something will click. But the more you act in ways you don't respect, the more your brain reinforces that identity. You start believing you're the kind of person who can't change. That belief kills your confidence, and it becomes a loop. Low action leads to low self-worth, which leads to even less action. Stage 2 is the effort phase. This is where the fog lifts, even if just a little. You hit a point where you're fed up. You don't have a perfect plan. You just have enough frustration to act. You clean your space, go for a run, start doing things you've been avoiding. It's messy, emotional, impulsive, but it works temporarily. The problem is, this stage is usually short-lived. You wake up the next day and reality hits. Not everything changed. Old habits are still there, and without structure, you fall right back. Most people bounce between stage 1 and 2 for a long time. If you push past that, you enter stage 3, the yo-yo phase. This is where things get interesting. You've seen what a better version of yourself feels like, and now you're chasing it. You start stacking good days, working out, eating better, being productive. And it feels amazing. But there's pressure now. You believe the streak is everything. One bad day feels like failure. So you become strict, almost extreme. And eventually you burn out. When you slip, you don't just slip, you crash. You binge, you regress, and you feel worse than before. Then you start over, usually even more aggressively. Progress happens here, but it's unstable. You're sprinting, not sustaining. Stage 4 is the optimization phase. This is when you stop just reacting and start thinking. You realize brute force isn't working, so you look inward. You start learning about habits, psychology, routines. Maybe you try journaling, therapy, podcasts, supplements, whatever promises to fix you. And to be fair, some of it helps. You gain awareness, you smooth out the edges, things feel slightly easier. But there's a trap here. You start believing that more information equals more progress. That if you just find the right system, you'll finally become that perfect version of yourself. But optimization alone doesn't solve the deeper issue. It just makes the process more comfortable. Then there's stage 5, the influencer phase. Not everyone hits this, but a lot do. This is when you've made enough progress that you start identifying with it publicly. You share your journey, your results, maybe even try to help others. And again, some of this comes from a good place, but there's also ego involved. You want validation, you want people to see you as disciplined, successful, figured out. Problem is, that image becomes exhausting to maintain. You feel pressure to always be on, always improving, always ahead. And when reality doesn't match that image, it creates tension. That tension leads to stage 6, the recalibration phase. This one feels like failure at first. You loosen up, you stop trying to be perfect, you start doing things you enjoy again, even if they're not optimal. But something shifts. You're not binging or escaping anymore. You're choosing. You go to the gym because you like how it feels. You might eat something unhealthy, but you don't spiral. You're starting to trust yourself. You realize balance isn't weakness, it's stability. This is where things finally begin to make sense. And then there's the final stage, the real stage. This is where your ego softens. You stop trying to prove anything, to yourself or anyone else. You're not chasing perfection, and you're not running from your flaws either. You just see them clearly. You understand that you're never going to be perfect, and that's not a problem. What matters is direction. You know what kind of life you want, and you move toward it consistently, without drama. At this stage, improvement feels different. It's not fueled by self-hate or pressure. It's simple. You do things because they make you feel better. You stop overcomplicating everything. You stop turning every mistake into an identity crisis. If you slip, you don't panic, you observe. You treat it like data, not proof that you failed. That's really what self-improvement becomes in the end. Not a grind, not a performance. Just a process of learning what works for you and doing more of it. You don't need to be perfect. You don't need to arrive. You just need a direction and the patience to keep moving toward it.